This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com.
Welcome. This is your daily dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. I'm your host, Kerry Lutz. It's 12/6/23, show 548. Well, indexes are on the rise again, Nick. I thought this rally was over.
Yeah, they're getting a bid today, but the reality of it is, Kerry, since November 20th, we've really been in a sideways range. So even though the markets are up a bit today, they were a little bit lower yesterday. Overall, the major indexes are just consolidating, and that's not a bad thing after a big run-up like we've had since October 27th. So the market's right now catching a bid today, and it's a pretty good pop today as well.
They said that share buybacks are at like record levels right now.
Yeah, they are actually at record levels. You see more and more companies almost announcing on a daily basis that they're now doing more share buybacks, and a lot of companies are also doing special dividends. So I've noticed we've seen a pickup in both here.
Well, I would always rather see a special dividend than a buyback,
Well, the buyback isn't terrible because, you're taking liquidity out of the system, and, that's always a positive for the share price. But, I personally think if you get a special dividend, that's not a bad one either. So I'm more of the dividend kind of guy than the share buyback, as you're going to see, your shares still trade on the open market and could be subject to any kind of economic data or some kind of a retreat. So I would rather take the cash.
Just think, if they only got down to 100 shares outstanding, how high the share price of Apple could be.
Yes, it would be very, very high. A lot of people say it's high already. So
it would be like 10 billion a share if there were 100 shares out, right?
It could even be a little bit more.
20 billion, right? What is Apple's market cap now?
Apple's market cap is 3 trillion. Yeah. So
it'd be 30 billion a share.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
And think of the PE ratio.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to love it. Then they'll start splitting shares. It's just financial alchemy.
That's all it is. And that's why we have to use charts, because sometimes, you just can't figure this stuff out. But, the reality of it is I'll take a dividend and take that cash up front. I always like to get paid quickly.
Yeah, agreed. Because like you say, they do the buyback and nothing might happen to the share price for a while.
That's right. And, everybody thinks like just because they do a share buyback, the stock is guaranteed to go higher. That's not necessarily the case. And if you run into a recession or you run into some kind of economic problem out there, a war, you never know what can happen. It's still risk every time, you have your money floating in the market. I'd much rather take the upfront capital.
So oil is getting hit again today, and we're going to talk about Natgas as well. Had a lot of requests for that recently.
Yeah, oil's getting slammed, and it's no shocker here, Kerry. It's now trading at $70.45 a barrel. Since it was even in the 90s and around $95, I said this is overbought and it should come down. But I really thought that the OPEC news was keeping it up there. And then sure enough, that was. This time around, OPEC just had a virtual meeting, and they said they were going to do production cuts, but nothing really was solid. And you can see that oil has since gone lower, but it is coming into a very good short-term support level at around $69. That's going to be a key level to watch, because if that level does not hold, we're going down to $55. And you heard it here first. That's how low it can go. But right now, you do have a key support area at $69, and that probably will get tested, today or tomorrow.
All right. So what's the deal on Natgas?
Well, Natgas has kind of been a little bit on the weaker side. You had a big sprint higher in Natgas going into the end of October, and since then, it's had a pretty good retreat. But I just want to remind people, though, Nothing goes up in a straight line, and the energy business is very, very tricky sometimes. But right now, what it looks to me is that since the October top on October 31st, where Natgas traded at $3.63, what you're doing is what we call a zigzag pattern down. So Natgas looks like it's trying to form a nice little bottom here. It's probably potentially a little bit lower. I don't think Natgas is going to see 240, but I do think, it's possible to go down to 250, currently trading at around 270 now. So we're getting, a corrective move in Natgas, but it still has a higher low in place. It's still well above the lows that were made in March and April. And again, that's just a natural correction, natural pullback after you've had, basically a 7-month rally, 8-month rally. And, this is just a corrective move for Natgas, but Natgas will go higher.
All right. So financial stocks are catching a bid today.
Yeah, the financial stocks have been very strong as of late, but today they're very, very strong. In fact, the KRE, which is the Regional Bank ETF, that's something we've talked about on the program, really going back to the beginning of the year, how the regional banks are so important, especially since we had that banking crisis in March of this year, earlier this year. They're acting well. And the KRE, whenever that goes up, that's telling you that the markets are still bullish. And right now, that's up almost 3% today. The KRE trading around $48.91. I think it's headed probably to $50 and ultimately $52, and that's where I think the big resistance level is. But the point I'm trying to make here is that this is a very bullish indication for the overall markets when the KRE trades higher. Nothing bad happens when the financials are strong.
Right, especially those regionals, which have been greatly in distress recently.
That's right. And they've really perked up, and they're acting well. And that's why I use charts, and I don't really listen to the news.
All right. So gold catching a bid today as well.
Yeah, gold is getting a nice little pop today. But remember, it had a big sell-off just 2 days ago on Monday. We had that big reversal where gold futures traded up to 2150. Now they've come back to earth, but had a big 2-day sell-off on Monday, obviously, and then a little bit of selling yesterday. Today, they're getting a little bit of a bid. I think you have to be a little bit careful with gold here because after a big reversal day like we saw on Monday, it's possible to see further downside. But all in all, if you're a longer-term investor, I think, you just sit tight with your gold play and you just wait for the breakout to occur. Last week, even last week and the week before that, we talked about how gold was challenging a breakout, but you have to let those breakouts confirm, and it never confirmed, and we pulled back in. But it could reset here and go higher in due time. Just be patient with it. This is why you use chart patterns. I alerted all my members before the gold breakout even looked like it was happening. I said, listen, you have to let this thing play itself out, and you have to watch these closes. They're going to be very important. I said, don't bite on the bid here because it can fool us, and that's what it did to everybody. It kind of fooled you there. Ultimately, I think it will break out, but for now, gold is retreating a little bit, but today it's having a good session to the upside.
Okay, and finally, talk about breakouts here. Bitcoin, man, it's like getting close to 44,000.
Yeah, Bitcoin's been on fire, and again, you are right on the cusp of 44,000. It's had a great move just yesterday. This is all on the back of a supposed spot Bitcoin ETF being approved. I think Grayscale has one, BlackRock has one. I'm sure, a bunch of other financial institutions have applied for a spot Bitcoin ETF as well. We'll see what the news is. If they approve it, looks like the market believes they will get approved. But we'll see. This could turn out to be a buy the rumor, sell the news event. Because think about it, when you get all these products in line, then, you have so many to choose from. I've seen it where a lot of products come on for some kind of commodity, and the next thing you know, that becomes a dud. So there's some interest in Bitcoin now. The chart is definitely good. It may even trade higher. I would not try to short Bitcoin or get in front of it until this news is released. And again, it's in the SEC's court, so we'll see what happens there.
All right. So I guess that is it for today. Best thing you can do is go over to Nick's site, inthemoneystocks.com, see how he's been crushing it for decades now. The Twitter feeds at ITMS, at Nick Santiago01, at Kerry Lutz. Emails welcome KL@kerrylutz.com. Make sure you post your comments on the YouTube channel below. And of course, always share, like, and subscribe. Nick, we will hopefully talk to you on Friday.
Sounds good, Kerry.